This is Outside the Round with Matt Burrill, a Raise Rowdy podcast.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Outside the Round with me, Matt Burrill. Today, a very special episode. I don't have one. I have two guests, the boys from the God Dog podcast and longtime friends, songwriters, artists, guys that have been here in town for a while. We got our boy Jasper Charles. We got Mr. Tyler Chambers. And it was funny looking back on this date 5 years ago, episode 38 of the In the Round podcast, back when I had Boudreaux doing this with me, with Tyler Chambers came out.
That's crazy, actually.
To the day.
Yeah, you talk about signs from the Lord a lot on your pod and just in life, and that's a pretty crazy coincidence that 5 years later we're sitting down.
It's actually nuts.
Yeah, to the exact day.
A lot's probably changed from then and now.
Yeah, I would say so. So how have you guys been doing? I know I saw you last week. Congrats on the Tyler Farr cut.
Thank you, brother.
Coming to a bar near you.
Thanks for helping us put that on, man. I mean, the turnout was amazing.
Yeah, that night, that whole week was nuts with it being like CRS in town.
Oh, yeah.
And we were doing stuff. It was our first year doing media for CRS.
Oh, sick.
So Nikki and I were at the Omni all week, just kind of messing around, getting to do all the suit stuff. We're like, well, how did these people let us in here? And Lakeview
Oh,
was
y'all
there.
deserve to be there, man.
Lakeview said the same thing. They're like, how the heck did the four of us all end up getting credentials and getting into this thing?
I don't have them.
It was wild.
I'll tell you that.
It was wild. And then all the events, and the Thursday night we did the Coming to a Bar Near You release party, which we knew it would get busy, but it got
dude, it looked huge.
it got nuts.
Yeah, it was awesome. Dude, y'all deserve to be there, by the way.
Yeah.
I mean, y'all have worked really hard y'all pretty much been songwriters too, but just in a different form, you know?
Yeah,
like, y'all been grinding the same way, just with a different, just a slightly different field, but y'all you should own that.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate that. I love what you guys have been doing with God Dog, man. You guys are what now, 12, 13 episodes
13 comes out on Wednesday with John Langston.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's got to be cool. So we got to back up. You guys have both been in town for a minute now. Jasper from Alabama, Tyler from Georgia, and you guys have done the music thing. I know you still write songs and you still pursue your passion and your dream, but it seems like this has been a fun little sidebar avenue to go down. So tell me the story. How does God Dog come to be?
Well, I wanted to start a podcast myself a long time ago, probably 3 or 4 years ago, and bought some equipment, got a camera, all the whole 9 yards, pretty much everything I needed except another person. And I kind of found out real quick that it wasn't any fun to do alone.
Yeah.
And so I was like, maybe, and it was all faith-based originally also. So I was like, well, if this is something that God wants me to do, I'm sure he'll show me later or whenever that is. And so painted the room, had everything I needed, and then Jasper and I met a couple years later, and he had been doing his own thing called Goalies, which is a faith-based.
Oh yeah, I know all about Goalies.
Yeah, outdoors, thing. So our paths kind of crossed, and we just got to talking one night, and we both had shared a passion for the outdoors and also what God's doing in our life, and we just needed the same way with songwriting. You want an outlet for your creativity.
Yeah.
And, as believers, we kind of wanted something that was like our ministry or our church or something that we could pour, into in that way. And so Jasper came over one night, and he had been praying about doing a podcast with me, and I didn't even know it. And at the end of the conversation that night, I asked him, I was like, dude, should we just start a podcast together? And he's like, oh, my God, dude, you don't know
Dude, it was crazy.
how crazy this is. But, yeah, so that happened, and we fiddled around with some names for a couple weeks or so, and then finally stumbled across God Dog and just felt right. Yeah. We both have German short-haired pointers. They're Kahala and Cotton, and they look exactly the same, and we love our dogs and love God and want to talk about them both. So it's just kind of where it started, and 12 episodes in, we can dive a little deeper on that stuff, but we've learned a lot, and we definitely feel like God has blessed what we're doing. And even if we only got 15 episodes in, I think that Jasper and I are both really content and just happy to be doing it, because it's fun and it's an outlet, and hopefully we have 1,500 episodes, but it's really been cool to kind of let your brain be creative in another area too. Because we both been in town for 8 years. You know?
It's been a minute.
Yeah, it's been a minute, so it's been good, but it's not. I would definitely say it's probably more. Jasper does a lot of the heavy lifting. Like he is, we wouldn't be God Dog without Jasper for sure. But we've figured out a good rhythm, and yeah, we try not to let it distract us too much. You know, take up too much of our time and our energy. But I can say that easier than Jasper can, because every time I talk to him, he's working on God Dog, and I'm like, oh, well, I'm about to eat dinner.
Well, you feel like it's a calling, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I second everything he said, and I was doing the goalies thing because, well, I've been here since 2016, but then I moved back to Birmingham for almost a year and a half.
Yeah.
Which I didn't want to. That was right when I graduated from college. Luckily, not luckily for the rest of the world, but luckily for me, it was during COVID, so I didn't really miss anything while I was gone. That's when I started goalies, because I was like, man, I've got to do something creatively. Yeah. And goalies wasn't really faith-based at the beginning. It was pretty reckless, honestly. And then as my life started to change and I'd already moved back here, I was like, kind of in the same shoes as him, where I was like, I really want to do this, but I don't have anyone to do it with, and I don't know how to do this content by myself. And is it a podcast, or is it just YouTube videos, or do I just pick the TikTok back up where it was? And I was really praying about, like he said, specifically doing it with him, and he didn't know. So like at this point in time, we had never hung out outside of one duck hunt or Music Room Ministries that we'd been on. We had never written a song together, nothing. And I was just like, you got anything going on tonight? And he said, no, come over and kick it. And the whole way there, I was like, all right, God, like, I don't want to awkwardly bring it up.
Yeah.
Like, hey, buddy, we've never done anything together. You want to start a whole brand? So I was like, man, God, just give me the cue, and I'll bring it up if you give me the cue. And I never got it. So I was like, I'll just go home and wait for another day. And that's when he brought it up, and I was like, okay, dude, we'll run it then. And it, like you said, it just went from there. But yeah, I mean, for me, definitely a calling to want to do a brand thing. And then when I lost my voice, that was the other part of it for me. Was like, when I didn't know what I was going to do about music, I was like, I still got to do something creative and like outward expression on media. So that was another big reason that I wanted to do it. So it's all worked out. My whole thing was like, dude, if RFK can run for president with his voice, I can surely start a podcast with mine, bro.
Amen.
You know?
Amen to that. So your guys' content, it focuses on, of course, faith-related stuff, country music, and the outdoors.
Yeah.
And fishing, hunting, conservation, all that great stuff that you two know a lot about and have been doing independently of each other, which is why it's so cool to see you boys team up. What has been kind of your favorite part of doing God Dog, whether it's a guest that you've had on where you've gotten a cool story, whether it's somebody that you know really well or somebody that you might not have known as well but got to know through talking about faith and music and stuff like that?
I mean, the easiest answer that comes to mind for me is like, and I've told every guest this, it feels like every time I'm going through something in my life that week, or like if I'm praying about something specific, that guest comes on unknowing whatever we're going through, and like, dude, something just falls out of them, whether it's a story or their testimony or whatever it is that they were sharing, that I'm like, dang, bro, like I needed this as much as I want someone else to hear it. I feel like I needed it. So it feels like every time we bring someone on, I'm walking onto there filled up from them speaking, right? Like we go in there hoping that it's going to be a good podcast for whoever's listening. I walk out being like, dang, bro, I think that was for me. I mean, we've had some really cool moments with a couple of guests that have shared some music stories about their life. I think Ray Fulcher had a killer one, and just listening to his story about all the Luke Combs cuts, and Connor Smith had a lot of wisdom to share, and that one was really big. But yeah, I think for me, it's really been like, dude, sometimes it really is just like God's in the room while they're talking, and I'm like, it'll catch both of us off guard where we'll both be like, I don't have anything to say right now.
Yeah, I agree. I could say the same thing. I think it's been really cool too. Like, even like just getting off the road with Dylan the past couple of weeks, the number of people that, young people specifically, that I've had approach me about God Dog. And to me, it's like, okay, that is the coolest thing I can do through my career of music. Is like, of course, it's sick if people listen to our music.
Yeah.
But it's even cooler that like we get to, share the gospel with people, and then through my music, they're also getting that kind of like dynamic when they come, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's almost like a double whammy of just my heart, our hearts, and what the idea behind God Dog, and it's just cool to see God like truly putting His hand on the conversations that we're having on the microphones in that studio, and because we talk about this all the time, but we started that to like kind of advise our younger selves, like how smart were you at 16? I don't know about you, but I was pretty dumb.
I mean, I got sober at 21, so that
Okay.
tells you all you need to know.
Yeah, so we probably had similar, we all had similar experiences,
Yeah.
and I don't think that, at least my parents, they were always like, I was so hard-headed that I wasn't going to listen to them if they told me to do something. I had to find out the hard way for myself, I graduated from the school of hard knocks, for sure. I have a master's degree. But, like, I do think we're in a position of influence, it might not be crazy, but, we have this opportunity to share our music and have people, like, at least act like they respect what we have to say about some things. So it's like, along with that, why do we sing songs about the things that we sing about? Why do we care about writing the songs the way we write them, and why, all that stuff? So like now we get to establish a reason behind all of those influences and our creativity. So it's just, I think I could go down the rabbit hole all day about it.
I could too.
Jasper said it best. I mean, when we're in there and somebody's just like Josh Phillips, whoever it be, like, of course, it's sick that he wrote a number one song, but when he's talking about his personal life and being vulnerable, you don't get that on Instagram.
No.
Right.
You get to see that he wrote the number one song, but you don't find out about, like, the things like, withdrawing on your parents' couch and then becoming sober and then writing dirt cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't get that.
Yeah, and
without God.
And
Yeah.
having a lot as an artist and then losing that and then having to come back as a songwriter.
Yeah.
And
Right.
the ups and
Yeah, yeah.
downs and the redemption and that
Exactly.
you're never too far gone.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like you always have a chance. When was the moment where you really became true like believers? When was the moment where
my
you
gosh.
really found God? Is there one? Because I remember
You can go first.
because I mean
Yeah.
you and I we've gotten to know each other a lot for a few years. You were one of my like day ones when I first got to town, and I remember raising a lot of hell with you.
Dude,
Yeah.
And I remember
I got drunk a lot.
I know, and I was there. And I was usually high. Like you
I
were
thought
there.
about this before we came on
You
here.
were there for the OG in the round.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
dude.
and it was a party, and it was
Yeah.
wild, and we all weren't making the best decisions for our bodies, for ourselves, for our lives.
It was fun.
It was
Yeah,
a
it was
lot
fun.
of fun, but where's the moment, that literal come to Jesus moment to where you're like, all right, Lord, I'm with you? Because I don't think I've quite had it yet, personally. I'll be honest.
Well,
like, I just haven't.
I can say this sounds crazy, and maybe to some of your listeners, this might be a first. But I personally, dude, I had like an encounter with Jesus when I was young.
Okay.
But it didn't click for me until I was 25. There was literally like a decade in between. I actually had like a vision when I was like 15.
Okay, so what
Just
was
like a dream.
what was this vision? If you've talked about this
Oh,
on the
dude,
pod
we haven't even talked
already.
about it on ours.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
No, I haven't, but I'll tell you. Just because it's my testimony.
Yeah.
And, I had a dream where like I wasn't going to church really. I had no spiritual influencers in my life, so there was actually no reason that I like subliminally would have been thinking about this anyway.
Yeah.
So, I just went to bed one night and had this dream where I was like in a building and I just literally had like the weight of the world sewn like on my shoulders, like woven on my shoulders, and I was climbing this building and finally just like dropped to my knees and found this window, and God help me tell this, but I was looking out and I was just sobbing, dude, like my dog just died, crying, and I just felt heavy, and I looked out this window and I saw this man like floating in the air, and immediately, like without any communication or anything, I was like, well, that's Jesus. 100%. That's Jesus. And he like almost like floated over to me on the window, and he just smiled at me and like through telepathy or however God speaks to us, through our minds. He like just smiled at me and like told me without opening his mouth. He said, "Hey man, I love you, and everything's gonna be okay." And I was like, literally just like in my chest. Never had anybody talk to me like that. And so all those tears that I was crying did a 180.
Yeah. So
I was like really, really sad 1 second, and then the next moment I'm crying tears of joy that I've never experienced before.
Yeah.
And I remember waking up in that moment in my bed, and my body was soaked from all of my tears. Like my bed was wet from all the tears that I had cried.
Wow.
And I literally, this is the crazy part. I woke up, I was covered in tears, and I was like, that was weird, and went right back to sleep. Like, didn't even...
No acknowledgement.
Like, didn't acknowledge, like, my heart was hard. But God did that 10 years ago, or 10 years prior to when he revealed himself to me then, but he didn't connect the dots in my heart until 10 years later.
So what causes the connection in the heart? Where did the dots all click? What was going on at 25?
I had a buddy sit me down one day, and he was like, because, like, during that time we were drinking a lot, like, I was chasing women. I just wasn't being a good person. Like, I didn't care about other people. I wanted to be a country star. And he sat me down one day, and he was like, man, something inside of you is screaming for help, and I can see it. And I was like,
yeah, bold.
That's kind of weird.
It's a bold thing to tell, buddy.
And I was like, and in that day, I'm like kind of like feeling like a macho man. I'm like, don't talk to me like that.
Yeah.
So but I love this guy, and he just keeps telling me, he's like, dude, you just need some help. And I didn't know what was going on, and then he started telling me he loved me. He's like, bro, I love you. Like, all of your friends love you. We love you. Like, you're okay. And he just keeps telling me that. And for a second, I'm like, is he telling me that he's like homosexual?
Yeah.
Because this is how hard my heart was. I didn't know that there was like love out there that like dudes could have, like camaraderie, type of brother love. Like, I didn't know it existed. And finally, like, he just like was crying and telling me they loved me, and it just something happened, and I was like, that's the love that Jesus was talking about in this dream that I had. Like, my brain literally just, for some reason, remembered that, and it kind of like just opened something, man. And ever since then, like, I think salvation is a process. I don't think that. I think that once you're saved, you have to have a repentant heart. But like, I think it's just such a long process, man. I think God's after all of us, and we just have to allow him to catch us,
Yeah.
But that's kind of a long-winded story, but that's my experience.
Oh, dude. Yeah, I can see it. Like,
it's crazy.
And it's funny. It's wild knowing you prior to that to seeing you post that, man. 'Cause it's clearly affected you and impacted you in a positive light. I mean, look at where you're at now.
Yeah, man. It's all by God's grace, dude. For sure.
It's amazing stuff. Now, what about you, Jasper?
Yeah, it's so funny that I'm laughing because it's funny to hear him say, like, I thought this dude was homosexual.
Yeah, because that's what we all. That's what we all would.
The reason it's funny is because now I didn't know Tyler back then. We didn't know each other. We've known each other for like a year and a half now. That's it.
Yeah.
Even though we were probably bumping elbows at Losers or something 7 years ago, but
yeah.
It's funny that he says that because now, like, when me and him talk on the phone, bro, he don't hang the phone up without saying I love you before he hangs the phone up.
Yeah,
you know.
Everybody I love him.
So it's funny to hear him say that. And be like, I thought this dude was like gay, and now he's the one telling everybody I love you. You know.
Yeah. It's powerful.
Yeah, my story's not as I don't have the dream thing, but I mean, he kind of hit it when he said it's a process. I feel like I've been a work in progress since I probably came out of the freaking womb, and I still am for sure. But my dad is full-blown Catholic, mom Baptist. So that was an interesting way to grow up. We kind of bounced around churches every Sunday because they didn't want to go one way or the other. Like, my dad is still Catholic, my mom is still Baptist.
Yeah.
They still go to their separate churches, and they're not divorced. So, like, growing up, it was we went to one or the other on the other Sunday, and then we just, for a while, maybe we went to one, and then maybe 6 months later, we were back to the other.
Two extremely different ways to worship.
And my dad's full-blooded.
Yes.
My dad's full-blooded Italian. His whole family's Catholic.
I see the horn on you.
Yeah. So that was interesting, but
Hadn't quit the nicotine.
Oh, I was gonna say, if you want something, I got this too. If
Are
you don't want
those
to dip in
are those
Jasper's.
the
the Zemos?
Is that what's his face's
No.
company?
They've been
Okay.
mailing them to me. So if you want one of those,
I'll steal his.
you'll steal his.
Thank
Okay,
you.
cool. Well, you want one of these later.
I don't feel bad about stealing his.
Well, they give these to me to give to people.
Okay, perfect.
I don't pay for
Perfect.
these. They send them to me. So
Sorry,
take it.
Jasper.
No, you're good.
I'm
dude.
sorry to interrupt.
interrupted.
It's all good. Yeah, it's all good. So, anyways, grew up Christian from the get-go. Was baptized as a baby. That whole thing. Went through confirmation classes for Catholic. All that.
Yeah.
And I think, in high school there was definitely a point where I felt pretty on fire, and then that kind of faded out. I was pretty reckless in high school, drinking, partying, staying out late, the whole nine.
Birmingham,
Yeah,
man.
dude. You know
Birmingham will do that.
You know how it
to
is. You've been
Yeah.
down there enough times. And then moved to Murfreesboro to go to MTSU, and I wasn't like college party boy crazy. You know what I'm saying? I didn't join a frat or anything like that. But definitely by the time I hit sophomore, junior year, I was definitely liking smoking the weed a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, like definitely fell into that hard, and like was doing that while I was drinking. I probably already had some anxiety going on before then, but then it got like really bad. Towards the end of my senior year, I was like just super depressed, super anxious. Like I said, I moved back to Birmingham. When I moved back to Birmingham, that was 2019, for sure the lowest point in my life. Like super dark, super depressed, just like not good. And that probably lasted until 25, 6. So 21 to 26 sucked for me mentally. And like 21 through 24, I was pretty like, I wouldn't say I never did not believe in God, but I was probably pretty close. I was just like, I overanalyze everything. I question everything to the deepest possible realm you can go in.
Yeah.
And so my mind started doing what everyone's does of like, how could there be a God? And like, if there is one, how do I know he exists? And like, where's the proof and where's the evidence? And kind of similar to him, where like some things would happen that now looking back were like clear signs that during the moment I'd still be like, that's not enough. Like, that's not enough for me to be fully convinced. I need more. I always needed more, always needed more, which I guess kind of helped because it made me dig. It made me dig deep and like try to find answers about the crucifixion and read books and watch movies and listen to podcasts. And I think a lot of that helped, but my whole thing has for sure been a process of probably trial and tribulation. And I think 26, I just turned 28 in October. 26 was when it finally, like, kind of like him, I had a moment where it kind of was just like, bro, I've got to make some life changes for sure. Because I went through a breakup. After I went through the breakup, for some reason I realized I've been drinking since I was 15 years old. Okay, so we're on an 11-year run right now. That's probably got a lot to do with my anxiety or depression and the weed and like other vices or pornography or whatever.
Yeah.
I just had this eye-opening experience of like, dude, I have so much darkness in my life. I've got to start trimming some fat. And so 26, I didn't drink for 11 months, and that was the best thing I ever did in my life. I rarely drink now, and when I do, I still hate it every single time. Not every time. I can't say that's not true. I mean, there's moments where I know like this was a good moment. Like I didn't take it too far. I can handle it.
Celebratory
Right.
and in anything in fellowship.
Yeah,
you
for
know?
sure.
Yeah.
And like
when you're
that's
with your
fine.
friends.
But anytime after that I knew I took it too far, I'm like, I don't want this in my life. But long way to say I've had to really work through it. Now there's been a lot of moments where I've in real time since then been like, that's got God written all over it. And especially from 26 till now, I mean, after I joined Music Grove Ministries, that changed, dude, everything. That was the first time I ever went anywhere and was like, this is church. There's a bunch of dudes in here being super vulnerable, super honest, not afraid to talk about real life struggles, and they're all talking about Jesus. And like, I remember the first time I went there, I walked out just being like, oh, bro, I finally found a place up here where like there's people they get it. Because you both know it, like, dude, it's kind of hard to explain to people outside of this bubble the struggles here. And so when you get all those struggles in one room and try to find Jesus in it, that really helped me a lot. So I wish I had a pinpoint moment for you. I mean, I can tell you crazy stories that have happened for sure.
What's one recently where you're like, okay, God, I see you.
I have one today.
Go, dude, you got it. And I'll give you one afterwards.
Yeah.
This is today. So we get home last night. So let me backtrack a little bit. I just got engaged.
Yes,
So,
congratulations, by the way. So happy to see you. So happy, bro.
Thank you,
It's
brother.
freaking awesome.
Thank you. I'm excited. It's definitely like the Bible says, like you have to die to yourself you definitely have to die to yourself, and I'm learning how to do that more and more every day. But recently, I've spent a good bit of money on like a ring and just trying to get my finances in check. And I recently have just like paid off all my debt, canceled my credit cards because I'm an impulsive person. So like if I have $10,000 in my pocket, on a piece of plastic, I'm just like, oh, screw it, put it on the Amex. But I've learned that's not good for me.
It's not good.
So I canceled that, but so I paid off my credit card like last week, and I didn't have a lot of money left for this month. And as a songwriter, Warner pays me once a month.
Yeah.
So I have to learn how to budget pretty well. But anyways, we got home last night, and I've just kind of been in a season of asking God to show me where I'm at in my walk with Him. Like what kind of process, like where at in the process am I?
Like check-in points.
Yeah, because there's you go through these phases, and you kind of have to redo it a lot. I feel like you can get off track.
Yeah.
Then you kind of get back on, and you can it's not just a straight path because we're never going to be perfect. Anyways, got home last night. My fiance's tires are really flat. The rim's like on the ground. And she's like, well, can I just take your truck to work tomorrow? She's a nurse at Vanderbilt. I was like, sure, babe, no problem. I'll just, fix your car tomorrow. So wake up, my truck's gone. She's in it. And then I have an old farm truck that I use for content. And I was like, well, Matt Mulhair asked me to write this morning out of the blue. And I was like, sure, I'll just hop in the farm truck, drive down to town, and figure it out. So I get in the truck, and I never pray over my vehicles. I've literally like never had the need to pray over a vehicle, but I was like, God, I don't know why today feels like the day, but I'm just gonna pray over this truck. Like, please let me make it to this right. And I get to the 24/40 split, and I think one of my spark plugs or something came loose or something, and my truck is just shaking on the interstate. And I'm like, really, God? I just prayed for this. And so I get over on the side of the interstate, and I'm like, it dawned on me, I don't have any money. I don't know what I'm going to do. And so I call Matt Mulhair, and he takes me back home. And while I'm on the way home, this guy messages me on Facebook, and he's like, hey, man, you still selling this camera lens for $400? I said, I'll give you $50 off if you come pick it up today. And so he meets me at the house. Have to pay a tow truck like $200 to go get it, take it back, take her car to the shop, fix the tire. And I'm looking at my bank account later today. I'm like, God did this so that He showed me that even if I don't get like what I'm praying for, He's still going to provide.
Yeah. And
then we come here, you ask that question, and also we come to find out that 5 years ago to this day, I was on the same podcast.
We released that episode.
Yeah. So no one can tell me that God's not real.
Yeah.
Like, and you have enough of those like moments in your life, and you just really, when you pursue Him, and the Bible talks about it, man. When you search with all your heart, that's where you will find Him. And but you really have to. Like He holds you to that, and it's so hard to like put Him on the throne of your heart every day because we have idols, man.
Yeah.
We are human. Like God dog can be an idol, music can be an idol. Your girlfriend, your fiance, your wife can be an idol, but He's a jealous God, and He wants you more than anything in the world. So
yeah. I think
that's like a good,
it's great,
crazy story.
I mean, it made me think that like when I was trying to give you my answer, my whole thing was a process, and I should have said that He's really accurate about it's so easy to fall off the path, and that's been my journey. Is just like the thing is like I finally reached a point where I was like, I'm just going to submit. That's where I should have ended my story. It took me a long time to just say, okay, if it walks like a duck and acts like a duck, it's probably a freaking duck.
Yeah.
That's how many times God was doing it for me to be like, okay, I'm going to submit and just accept that my brain's never going to figure out all these answers that I'm searching for. Like, there's a lot of answers, but some of them are just not there.
Yeah.
And I've got to accept that I'm going to have exactly what faith is. I'm accepting this, even if I don't get every single little pinpoint answer I need. And then all those moments start showing up, and once your brain finally submits, you are able to look out and go, like today, someone else might have written that off as like, whatever, I got the money and never thought about it again. But he's looking at it like, no, that was God providing for me.
Yeah.
And I'll give you an answer for mine, like recent thing. This is, for me, I think humbling. Like, I've always tried to do, over the last year at least, I've tried to be better about fasting spiritually, not for health reasons. And I've probably done a 24-hour fast twice. One I did with him, I did one separately last year for myself. But a couple weeks ago, I was like, I know I'm going to do a bare minimum. I want to hit 48. And I did that. And on down to the last hour, pretty much of my 48, right before I broke it, one of the things that I was fasting over was my voice. And dude, it was just so crazy. I think I told him this, but I know I told Sydney, like I was praying out loud in my house about my voice. And it was the first time since my vocal surgery that I knew, hearing it, that I was like, dude, my voice sounds better and stronger than it did before my surgery. It doesn't now, but in this moment of me praying out loud, it was like my brain recognized like my voice for the first time. And I was like, it was so humbling that I couldn't talk. And I was like, I literally hit my knees and thought to myself, like, man, talk about being humbled by God. Like, you're sitting here praying about your voice coming back. It feels stronger than it ever has, but you can't even use it. Because I was just so in awe of like feeling God around me that when I got on my knees, I was like, it's not even about my voice coming back. It's just this moment of like having God's presence in my life. I care about that. That's what I'm actually after. All these other things that I care about don't matter at all. And like when I got up, I just remember thinking like, bro, I want to never not be in this moment. And then I ruined it the next day and, messed up and had 1,000 moments I didn't feel that way. But that was for sure one of those ones where I was like, that's humbling, bro.
Do you ever feel like you've had like a God moment or like encounters in your life where you're just like, I don't know what's going on here, but I can't explain it, and I don't think it's like me.
I'm trying to think because I mean, like
you're sober, right?
I'm sober, so yeah, the higher power moment.
So there's something driving that.
Yeah, and it's like the way you're talking about ministries, about Music City, Music Row ministries. The way you're describing it sounds like my experience is in AA, and I've had guys and girls on here before that have gotten sober and have said that they wish that church for them growing up is what AA is for them now.
Wow.
Because it's all fellowship at the end of the day. So I'm trying to think. I mean, my girlfriend is a believer and has had some experiences where she's had tough moments in her life and where she'll ask God, like, show me the way, and she'll pray and submit to it, and then within 48 hours she'll have her answer of what she should do. And some pretty big life decisions.
Yeah.
The other day we were coming back from seeing her family out in Charleston, and she's trying to get this job at this company, and she was asking me if I'd pray for her, and I haven't prayed in a long time. I'll be honest, I just haven't.
That's okay.
And I know it's all good and stuff, but she was saying like, will you pray about this or just manifest for me? And as we're pulling into my neighborhood, the name of the company is like what my neighborhood is named after. It's like the name of the company is like Truxton, and my neighborhood is apparently Truxton Park. I had no idea, but it was like a few minutes earlier that she was like, "Hey, will you pray?" She's meeting to try to get a job at this place called Truxton, and my neighborhood is Truxton Park. I had no idea.
Yeah,
I knew there was a sign there. I'd never read it before, and the big sign that says Truxton Park. So I don't know if that's a moment or not.
100%.
It definitely is.
So
yeah,
that was pretty wild.
With God, there's no such thing as coincidence.
Yeah, I don't believe in coincidences at all.
And I think we can all try and like be like, oh, that's kind of crazy, but no, whatever. That sounds always there. But now that you're thinking about it, like you remembered that.
Yeah.
So it meant something.
Yeah, and I mean, there's moments like where you look back where it's a lot of the, if I hadn't met this person, if I hadn't gone and played kickball with Trey Lewis and Ella Langley and Trey Bonner and all those people, I wouldn't be at where I'm at now. If I hadn't taken this opportunity to go out with the Muscadine guys, like different things where I guess you look back at those moments and you have this doubt, but then there's something clicks and you end up making that decision. I guess that would be considered moments, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, God, the only reason that we're here is because God is allowing us to be, Yeah. I think that he is sovereign over many different paths that we are capable of taking, you know. And I think that it's just listening to him along the way probably like reduces the amount of friction of the path that we choose, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's like he gives us free reign. He's like, here's the keys, bro.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, he's like, here's the keys, but like none of us, like, we can drive across the country, but we're not leaving the earth. You know,
Right.
it's like, I know where you're gonna be. Like, you do whatever you want, but at the same time, he's like, here's a rule book. This is the guy that I, you know, sent from heaven to show you how to do it, and also like paid for all of your sins. Like, when times get tough, like, don't forget that he's there and there's a blueprint, you know.
Yeah.
So it's good to hear you say that, man. I hope you don't think we're here to like.
No, I wouldn't have asked you guys here if I didn't want to talk
Yeah,
about
Yeah,
this
for
stuff.
sure.
That's
For
why.
sure.
That's why we're here
Yeah.
to talk about what you guys are doing with God Dog and everything. You were talking about the guys and girls that you were meeting on the road on the Mid 20s Crisis Tour, which, by the way, it's so cool to see Dylan and you and Brian all on the road together and doing this from when I first met you guys, like pre-COVID to now. It's awesome. But you talk about like those kids were recognizing you from God Dog.
Yeah.
What do you think it is that's drawing the young people back to the Lord? Because it seems like the mega churches and that style of worship is a much more inviting thing. Like, I grew up Episcopalian, so it's like being Catholic, but you're allowed to smoke. That's the way I said it. Like, being Catholic without the confession booth, and like ministers could marry, and it's just a little fundamentally different, but closer to that than it is like to Baptist or Methodist or any of that stuff. But what do you think it is that's getting this next generation closer to worship and closer to God?
I can answer it if you
Yeah,
have something.
whatever. We can
I'm
both-
sure
go
both
ahead.
got answers.
I think that personally, I think that the leadership or the people that these kids that they have to look up to now, like there's a wide array of influences. You know, social media. There's a lot of doors you can open, but I think it's really clear. Like, you know, if I was 18. Looking at behind all the curtains, you know, you can kind of see where people's hearts lie. And I think it's just kind of clear now, you know, Kim Kardashian probably isn't the best role model.
Yeah.
And like, I'm not saying that because I'd know her heart, but like, I think that people are just judging, you know, character and like, I don't know. I think that there's honesty at God Dog, and I think like even Jasper said earlier, even like bringing up pornography,
Yeah.
like being 17.
Oh yeah, dude.
We've all been there.
That iPod Touch.
Yeah, we've all been there.
We've all
Yeah.
been
there, and
Yeah.
there's not a lot of people in your life at 17 that are going to be like, "Hey, bro, don't look at that.
Yeah.
That's going to ruin you.
Yeah.
Like for real, that's going to like really mess you up and
Yeah.
like probably dictate how you see your wife one day."
Yeah.
And somebody talks to you like that when you're 17, you're like, "Whoa,
Yeah,
like,
dude.
like what?"
There's a lot of truth to that. I think it's a lot of things, and I'll touch on what he said and then go back to what my original answer was going to be. What he said is a really good way of what Connor Smith said on our podcast too, and it wasn't about this question, but kind of. Connor was talking about himself and all of us in our age group, in our class of artists, and how we have a microphone physically, but actually with a voice and influence. And Connor was like, dude, can you imagine being 16 or 17 and meeting Connor Smith backstage, and he's your favorite artist, and Connor Smith tells you something like, hey, bro, when you go off to college, like, here's some do's and don'ts. It might weigh on you harder than your buddy down the street
or
because
your parents.
or your parents.
Especially your parents
Yeah.
or your
Yeah.
grandparents.
That's where
Yes.
I was.
Yeah,
personally.
exactly. Because those kids look up to Connor Smith, and it's so funny that we're having this conversation that he brought that up. I didn't know someone recognized him from God Dog, but we were both in Alabama this weekend hog hunting with Slade Johnson and Macy Watkins. You might know who Macy is, but she put a TikTok up of all of us, and I was looking at it last night, and one of the comments said, "Is that Jasper from God Dog?" I don't know who he is, but I was like, my girlfriend was with me, and I was like, this is crazy. Like, that's the last thing I would have ever thought.
Is that a sign, though? You think that people?
Yeah, she even told me that.
That that's a sign from God as well.
Well,
You think?
I didn't think of it that way, but when I told her that, she was like, that's amazing. Like, you see, like, the impact that y'all's podcast is making.
That's a sign to keep doing it, even though it's like one comment. You guys aren't doing it for personal recognition. You're looking to tell stories.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you right now, the one comment on there saying, is that Jasper from Jasper Charles Music? You know what I'm saying? But another thing, too, that I think could be the thing is, because of social media, we as a population have such access to all the craziest things in the world going on right now.
Yeah, all of it.
And I think it's making a lot of people question, like, their own life. It feels like every day of the week the world's gonna end tomorrow. Yeah. And so I think a lot of people are having wake-up calls of like, maybe I should think about what happens after I die. And so you got a bunch of, people with influence that are talking about life and Jesus and what happens afterwards and what it means to accept God into your life as you're scrolling through the world ending. And so I think it's making a lot of people gravitate towards that because they want the answers for their own life too. I mean, I'm doing it. You know what I mean? I'm stopping to watch the video of the world ending and then I'm swiping the next one and it's another Bible verse.
Philip Anthony.
Yeah, it's Philip Anthony Mitchell getting on it, bro. So I think that could have a part in it too,
Yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah, is there a certain, I'm sure all of it, and again, I'm not fluent in this stuff. I got confirmed and did all that.
I mean, we're not theologists,
yeah,
bro.
I know, but you guys like read scripture on the regular and are like active in your following of Christ and all of that. Is there a certain line within scripture or a certain verse that really stands out for you either right now or all time? Because I'm sure every day it's like, I look at it like sobriety where you work different steps as you're going along. And even though I'm coming up on 9 years of being sober, there's certain times where I'm like, okay, I got to work on step 3.
Sure.
I got to work on step 2. Oh, I got to apologize. Like there's all the different things in there. Like right now, actively, what's a line or a gospel or something within the good book that kind of stands out to you? Just where you're at.
You want me to go?
You can.
I'll give you a couple and I'll make them quick. I mean, the one that carried with me the longest is Mark 9:23. It was my first tattoo, and it's anything is possible in him who believes. And at first, I definitely was taking that to heart of like my dreams, right? Yeah. Like I can go through these things. And probably 5 years after I got that, I read the very next line, which made it make more sense. I was like, man, I should have got that one tattooed. Mark, it's the very next sentence is, I believe, but help my unbelief. Yeah. And I was like, man, that probably weighs harder on me than anything is possible.
How do you interpret that?
I think I look at it in faith wise because that's how it was written. It's like, I believe in God, I believe in Jesus, but man, my brain is really good at doubting. You know what I mean? And like, I want to have more faith. If you look at some of the passages in the Bible, like the woman who couldn't stop bleeding, right? Like she had so much faith that she said, if I can just touch Jesus's cloak, I'll be healed. It wasn't if I can see Jesus. It wasn't if I ask him to heal me. She had so much faith that she was like, dude, if I can just touch the freaking cloth that's touching his body, that I'm healed. Like, so when it says, I believe, but help my unbelief, I think it's that doubt part. And I'm like, I want the faith of her. You know what I mean? So that one rained on me for a while. And then, when I was early 20s, really in a dark spot, it was Isaiah 43:2, which was my next tattoo. And it's, when you walk through the waters, I will be with you. When you pass through the rivers, they shall not sweep over you. When you walk through the fire, I will be with you. I just butchered that on the end of it. But he says, I'm with you through the fires. Your feet will not be burned. And that always was in my head when I was going through that dark time because I was like, it never says you're not going to walk through the water or the fire. It even says your feet are going to be freaking hot as hell, literally. But I'm not going to let you drown, and I'm not going to let you get burned. I'm right there with you. And so for me, that was what I kept telling myself was like, the water's hot, bro, but my nose is above it. And you know what I mean? The fire's hot, but like they're not on fire yet.
No matter how bad it gets, it's going to get better.
Yeah.
Like, I got you kind of thing.
And I'll give you my last one, which is my recent one. This came from my fasting 2 weeks ago that I just can't get over. And it's a long one, so I'm not going to by any means memorize it. It's pretty much the whole chapter of Psalm 139. And it's David writing this, he slayed freaking Goliath. He was the king. He was a leader. He made it into the freaking Bible. So he's like one of the most famous people to ever get written about, right? Yeah. That dude who is like the guy is sitting here writing a psalm to God, pretty much saying, search my heart and know my anxieties. And right before that, he says, this really poetic passage. You should look it up. It's unreal. Where he's pretty much saying, you knew me when you knitted me together in my mother's womb in the secret place. And there's a line that's something like, you knew the pages, you knew the words on every page in my book of my life before the first page was ever turned. That's my version of saying that, but that's essentially what he's saying. And I love that because, dude, even after the life this guy lived, he's still having to sit there and talk to God and be like, you know the purpose you created for me. And he was a king. He slayed a giant. And I love that because we all do that. We're constantly searching for like, am I on the right path? God, do you really want me here? God, can you just reveal to me, is this the dream you actually want me to chase? And so I read that, I was like, man, it just felt so seen from someone who was like the freaking king, literally the king of the day, being like, God, search my heart, know my anxieties, because you literally knew me before I drew my first breath. He knows that God's got the perfect plan laid out, and he just wants to be on that path. And I couldn't relate more to that in my life. So that one's my one right now that I'm like, I just can't get over that one.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's bars, man.
Yeah.
I think for me personally, I'm so bad at memorizing scripture, and I literally, when I do read my Bible, I'll like write a whole page down of something that I'm trying to remember, and then I'll recite it in my brain for a day and then forget it.
Yeah.
Well, maybe something that you've read. You
Well,
don't have
yeah,
to say
for
what
sure. No,
specific
for sure.
thing,
I think there's a verse that says, I think it's 2 Corinthians 5:21. It's a pretty popular verse, but it's goes something like this. Don't quote me on this, Lord. But it's for our sake, he made him who knew no sin to become sin on our behalf, so that we might become the righteousness of God. And what that means is he gathered up all the sin in the world, gave it to somebody perfect and blameless, put it on his back, crucified him, and had us murder him, so that when he looks at Jesus, he sees our sin, but then when he looks at us, we see Jesus. So, God hates sin every day. Whatever we do, like whether it's flipping somebody off in traffic or like being sharp with your wife or, looking at something you're not supposed to or whatever it might be, God hates that, but he has it for good reason. And it's not that he hates us. And I think that's where the fire and brimstone, like, preaching kind of gets mixed up where like, oh, God hates sin, so I'm so sinful and he hates me.
Yeah,
that's not what's
it's
going
a God
on.
that you need to fear versus like, there's a difference between fear and respect.
Yeah, fear of the Lord is where wisdom begins.
Yeah.
And that's for good reason. It's just like your daddy. Like,
Yeah.
probably shouldn't lie to my dad because you want to have that relationship with him where if you do something wrong, you can say, hey, Dad, I messed up.
Yeah.
Not like I have to hide this from you.
Yeah.
And I think the Bible's just full of it, man. I mean, it's literally God's word breathed into life, and anybody out there, I just suggest reading.
Yeah,
it.
I mean, I think the misconception that I always had was like the same thing we're saying. It's like you get the fire and brimstone preaching, or you think the Bible is like written about people who were perfect. Like, oh, the 12 disciples were like the most perfect people. No, bro. They were freaking jacked up.
Yeah,
dude.
they were. Yeah.
Bro, David was jacked up. Like, they were all jacked up. And I think that's what helps so much. Paul writes about it the best.
Yeah.
And when he says, like, he's like, dude, why? He says, God, like, I keep doing the things I don't want to do. And I can't do the things I want to do.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's all of us, bro.
Yeah.
You can do whatever you want and try to be perfect. It'll never happen, bro.
So the 12 disciples are like a reflection of any kind of person.
Yeah, it's all of us.
Yeah, it's
literally.
All,
Dude,
it's all human qualities.
They were liars. They were cheaters. They were friggin', some of them were tax collectors. You know what I'm saying? They were fishermen. Like, they were not. One of them cut a freaking dude's ear off right in front of Jesus. And Jesus was like, bro, chill out. And put the ear back. You know what I mean? He's like, put the sword down, bro. Yeah. So it's written about people that are just like us. So there's no reason for us not to be able to read it and be like, oh, man, like, these dudes were jacked up and Jesus was like, bro, I got you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it helps too. Like, Jason Cruz is a good buddy of ours. He's been a pastor for a long time. He just started a new career, but having wise counsel around you to help interpret, culture at the time is really helpful because you can read the Bible and get really, like, I still, when I read the Bible, I'm really intimidated.
It can be
by
overwhelming.
a lot of words and
Yeah.
like things that were going on back in the day, but come to find out, people have always been the same.
Yeah.
We've been like this
Forever.
forever. So it's like our tendencies aren't any different.
No.
You know,
Yeah.
they're the same people. They just said it in a different way.
Yeah, they said it with the different words.
Yeah, they were actually a lot more elaborate and, you know,
Yeah, smarter,
specific
probably.
and smarter. But yeah, I think keeping that in mind is very important too. Like, man, we're just the donkey that Jesus rode on. You
Yeah,
know?
pretty much. Right.
Yeah. Now, what are some goals for God Dog? Like, you guys are now getting ready to drop episode 13 with our good buddy Langer, John Langston.
Yeah.
Where do
Langer.
you guys kind of see this going, and what are some goals now being?
Well, we got to have
this
you
far
on
in?
next.
Yeah.
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 What an episode that would
Yeah,
be.
we'll swap mics, bro. We should do it.
That'd be wild. I'd be down.
Let's do it.
I would 100% be down. But what do you guys have as some goals, and what's really the true mission of showing faith and lifestyle and music?
Jasper's going to answer that way better than I will.
I mean, we have the same goals. I mean, I think there's small goals and there's big goals. I think if you're looking long term, we'd love for it to turn into something that never dies. You know what I mean? We would both love for it to become something that eventually is fruitful. You know, maybe I don't care if it makes us rich, but it would be nice to see it fund itself. That would be great. I know that number one on the list is some merch, which we've been working on. We've got some hats, but it's really hard.
Is that a hat that you've got on right now?
Yeah, this is a God Dog hat. This isn't even one of the ones that we have up. This won't be the first one we have for sale, but we do finally got the hats in, and we've been working on the website. So like that's a short term goal that we're like really trying to knock out, because that would be helpful for us just to continue building the brand, get on other people's heads. I think, dude, right now I think our number one goal is just keep this thing continuing.
Yeah.
More guests, and honest to God, like my biggest goal is to get it to a spot at least to make money to bring someone else in to help us run it.
Yeah,
Just with the workload.
not
Yeah.
even as much to put it in your pockets as it is to grow the team.
Yes, dude, because like I don't have a problem doing the work that I'm doing. I enjoy it. I love it. But like he said earlier, like we still want to focus as much as we can on being songwriters and being artists. That was the first thing we did anyways. And yeah, having somebody else a part of the team would be a massive step forward for growth for us for sure. I mean, we have fun ideas. Like we want to do live stuff. We want to do collaborative stuff with other people and maybe go live. We would love to do events. We would love to pop up at NWTF in 2025 with our own booth. I think, you know, some of the people that we've gotten to hang out with and do some stuff with since launching it, I think watching that turn into some bigger stuff would be really cool too. Is that a good way to say all that?
Absolutely, brother. Yeah, we just want to be able to keep putting gas in the truck, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, just keep it rolling in the right direction, and if it grows, great. You know, I think specifically exactly what Jasper said, just having somebody come on would be really, really helpful. So if anybody's out there and you need a little side gig, holler.
Yeah, I mean, Tyler said at the beginning that we are content with it, and we are. I mean, I'm completely fulfilled with it as much as I am through writing songs, and that probably stems from I love content and media, and I love marketing.
That's been one of your things for a long time.
Yeah, for sure. And like marketing's been such a part of my full-time career life and everything else. And so the brand world is something that even in high school I was just like, I want to start something. My whole family are business owners, so I think a lot of it stems from that, and I'm getting a lot of fulfillment out of that being part of what we're doing. So we're cool with where we're at, but obviously want to see it continue.
Yeah. The way you said, we want to put some gas in the truck, you just speak in country songs.
Yeah, he does, bro.
Like, you just
He
talk.
does, dude.
If you want to know how to write a country song, just have a conversation with you. Like honestly, like, it's wild.
Yeah.
How has now your connection with the Lord, your connection in faith, doing this mission, because that's really what it is it's a mission what you guys are doing. You know, you're spreading the good word through fellow folks in the music world and the outdoor community through an encompassing brand, and that's what it represents, is how it all kind of connects to each other. Have you seen a change in your songwriting since you've found this relationship with God?
Yeah, it's definitely I would say I've just doubled down on it, because you know, you have to believe in yourself to move here. Whether, you know, some people are saved when they move here, some people aren't. You know, I wasn't, but I believed in myself. You know, I was like, oh, like I can do this. And then quickly you find out that like maybe I'm not the most capable person on the planet, you know, and then you're like outsourcing to buddies or, you know, finances is one thing, but when you start outsourcing your faith and your belief and what drives you to continue to go in a direction, when you outsource that from God, you know, there is almost like a ignorant bliss that you can get, but it's not like the ignorant bliss that you had when you moved here because it's in yourself. Now you're just like, well, I know like God put this on my heart and I've acted on it and he's blessed me this far. So I'm going to keep going until he tells me to stop or something is like abundantly clear to me that this is not what I'm supposed to be doing. And, you know, if that comes, so be it. It's not necessarily what you want.
Yeah, I meant too, like just incorporating your writing style in faith.
Yeah, I think it definitely has. I think for me personally, you know, there's days when you get in a room like with me and Jasper and my buddy Damon, you know, really any of my buddies are pretty much down to write like a country faith-based song. Like I just put out a song called Jesus Went Down to Georgia. Do you have Trust You Anyways?
Yeah, I got a few. I have a few that I've done it with. I mean, more than a few now. I definitely doubled down on it when I started like fully accepting it. And I think the reason was majority of my songs, like everybody here, you're writing about your real life. So it's like that's a part of my real life.
Yeah. Like
it is a part of my walk daily. Therefore, it's going to be incorporated in how I write. And I've tried my best to write it. I don't think they're worship songs. I guess you can call them that if someone's using it that way. But like, I'm not sitting down being like, I'm going to write a song in the style of elevation worship, maybe. But I'm writing about my experience. Like Trust You Anyways was written about my voice because when I went through my vocal surgery, 3 months later, I went to Vanderbilt, and Vanderbilt said, we don't know if you'll ever sing again, and if you do, we definitely can't tell you when that'll be. And so I immediately went home with pretty much no voice and started writing Trust You Anyways, which was my song directly to God saying, whatever happens, I'm going to trust you no matter what, right? And I was writing it kind of about me, kind of about Job in the Bible. Job had a terrible life for a while, and Job still said, regardless of all this, I trust you. And so I was like, okay, well, regardless of this problem, I'll trust you. And prior to that, I had already put out Nowhere Prayers, which was definitely more country than it was Christian, but it was still crying out to God. Yeah. And I had some other songs like Bird Dog in the Bible or Everything Under the Sun. Those were all faith-based country songs. Trust You Anyways, I released as a Christian song. It's the only one I've ever done it as that one because there was no way around it. There was nothing country about it.
Yeah.
You know, maybe a guitar solo in it, but that one was like, this is a Christian song. I put it out on the Christian charts, and it charted on the Christian charts on iTunes. So I was like, hey, if these type of songs keep coming up, I'll do that. Yeah. If they don't, I'll just put it in the song where it fits. It doesn't mean that I'm not going to write. You know, I have a song coming out next week that me and Tyler wrote called Winter Haven about where I grew up. I don't think there's anything faith-based in it, probably. It's just a good country song.
Yeah.
So it's not like I'm not going to do that or the other. It's just, again, like it's a part of my real life. I write my real life. So it's naturally just going to bleed over into it.
Yeah.
I agree.
Makes sense.
I feel like mine is, I would say the same. I'm not saying it hasn't changed. I would just mean like the same as Jasper. Like if it comes up, I'm definitely down to chase the rabbit. But if not, like I still take country music very seriously.
Yeah.
You know, my brain is always, my antenna is always flickering, you know, trying to catch a good redneckism or
you've got him.
And he said it too earlier, like he knows the group that's going to write that song well with him and the ones who aren't. And I'm the same way. Like I know that I can send Tyler a super country title that has nothing to do with it and he'll be down. I also know that I can call Tyler and be like, I got this song idea that's 100% Christian, and he'll also be down. Whereas there's other dudes that I'm like, it's not that I wouldn't bring them a Jesus idea, but like we have a buddy Harrison that if I have a straight up, it ain't country at all, and it's a Christian song, I'm calling Harrison. You know what I'm saying? Because that's his forte. He's good at that. So I think you know where it fits, you know where it don't. And yeah, I think I just still rely on God in those moments. Like, dude, I rely on God in all my songs to be like, if he wants to get written, I'm gonna get the idea, whether it's just straight up country or straight up Christian, either one. I'm gonna ride it out no matter where it goes.
Yeah, I was gonna ask if there's been that aha moment in a writing room.
You mean like with a faith-based song?
No, not even a faith-based song, about any song. You could be writing a country song, but like where you have that writer's block and then that moment kind of pops.
Just in general?
Just in general, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like all the time for me. I'm more like a gumball machine. You know, you just got I keep putting a quarter in and a little...
The lyrics just don't stop with you, man.
A little
something,
something comes out. Sometimes the quarter gets stuck, and I have to shake it and kick the machine for something to fall out. But I have those moments often where, you know, everybody in the room's like, "Yeah, Tyler, that's what we've been saying for the last 30 minutes." It just took me that long to get there, but yeah, man. I mean, I think that's the beauty of songwriting. Also,
the magic,
is like the pursuit of the idea. You know, making sure that you're staying on track and writing to a hook. At least that's what in Nashville. You know, that's the Nashville thing. We could definitely write. You know, there's a lot of guys nowadays, like since Tyler Childers and Zach Bryan, those guys have, you know, popped off. They have opened another door. It's always been there, but it just hasn't necessarily been pursued in the way that it has in country. You know. Where those guys are kind of just like writing whatever they feel like saying. And I think a lot of the lyrics are genius and really cool.
Very poetic.
Yeah, it's very like story-esque, like Bob Dylan kind of stuff.
Yeah. I mean, it's no different than here where, you know, there's the guys here that are really good at the commercial side of it, and they got that freaking thing in them, and there's some that don't, right? And that world is no different, where there's a couple of those artists that are in that lane that are super poetic, and then there's the other ones that try really hard to be. And then you're like, dude, what? You're just writing, you know, something that wouldn't even make it to a napkin at this point. But
yeah. That's wild.
For sure.
That's wild. Well, I appreciate the hell out of you boys coming on here.
Dude.
And where can people go to find out more about God Dog? You got all the info down there.
It's pointing to me for everything, bro. God Dog's on everything. TikTok, Instagram, Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, wherever you listen to anything. The God Dog podcast is on, and Jasper Charles for all my music, and Tyler Chambers for all his.
That's
do
right.
you guys have a specific date that you release on, like a day of the
Yeah, we try to do every other Wednesday.
Every other Wednesday.
Yeah, sometimes it ends up on a Thursday, but for the most part, it's been every other Wednesday.
Awesome.
Yes, sir.
Heck
Thank
yeah.
you for having
Appreciate
us,
you
man.
having us,
Dude,
buddy.
appreciate you guys coming on. This was awesome.
I'm serious about you coming on God
Yeah,
Dog
come on,
too.
bro.
I'd be so down.
It's literally no pressure too. We just, man, I have to say this, just because we've known each other so long. I feel like over the years I've kind of, you know, unless I'm writing on Music Row, I don't really go to a lot of the rounds and stuff anymore, just because, you know, life has happened and you get busy and, you know, not necessarily that you ever graduate or like you're better than anything, but like
you put in your time in Midtown.
Yeah, you put in your time, you know. And I feel like I did that for a long time, and I just want to say thank you to you and Raise Rowdy and, you know, everybody that has been involved in those Live Oak shows, now the Duck Blind, you know, putting songwriters on a stage and a platform like that, because genuinely without y'all, without Matt, you know, I probably wouldn't have met 75% of the people that I know here.
We do them so everybody can network.
Yeah, I mean,
seriously,
my
man,
first round when I moved here was yours. That was the first one that I got.
I think
that was
mine
the first
probably
one.
was too, but
my first blog post was Raise Rowdy. Like my first everything was this.
Yeah, y'all, you, especially you, man, like you have facilitated a lot of relationships and opportunities for people, and I hope that you know that, because
well, I appreciate you.
Yeah, you deserve your flowers,
for sure, bro.
Well, thanks, man. That means the world. It means a lot. It's been a wild 6 years in town for me. Or now coming up on 7 years, but it's been wild getting to grow together and do the dang thing.
Yeah, dude. Well, look at you now. Look
at you now,
bro.
You got cameras mounted on every wall.
We got cameras mounted on the wall. We got stuff hanging up all over the place. I got a little Godfather bobblehead, the second most.
We'll get you a God Dog bobblehead.
Yes. Oh, that'd be really cool. I don't know what that would look like, but I'd be so down to have that. Like, I don't know what would it be? Would it be a bobblehead of Jesus, or what would
probably a bird dog or
something?
Bird
dog. Be a bird
maybe.
dog.
Yeah.
A bird dog wearing a cross chain.
That was
that might.
That was our original or my original logo.
Yeah.
There's
What
just
they got?
kinda
What they
hard.
got? Like a cross collar?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, that'd be cool.
It's dirty.
That'd be cool. I like it. Awesome. Well, y'all be sure to check out our boys, Jasper Charles and Tyler Chambers, the God Dog podcast. And they also have some music out. Be sure to look up Jasper Charles music, Tyler Chambers music. They've got some great songs out, some great songs to come this year. They're doing the artist thing, and they're taking care of the mission with the God Dog podcast. So y'all be sure to look it up. Every other Wednesday, their episodes will be coming out. Episode 13 with John Langston coming soon. Shout out to our friends from Surfside. Going to send you boys home with a 4-pack of Surfside. I got some peach teas and some regular teas over there, and then you guys can go sift through all the hats that we have over there. We have
God Dog.
a lot of Raise Rowdy hats. God Dog, indeed. Well, for my boys Jasper and Jasper, my boys Jasper and Charles. For my boys Jasper and Tyler, I'm Matt Burrill. This has been Outside the Round.
I ain't never been the kind for staying in one place for too long. I ain't never been the best at saying I love you to a girl I love. Only got a couple tricks up my sleeve. They usually just make them leave. So if you